Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well today. So in this video, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about my struggles with card collecting addiction and the struggle to basically collect in a way that is fun and brings enjoyment into my life and allows me to meet people and share experiences and where I can enjoy the the hunting to find items, adding them to my collection, and then really enjoy having them for long periods of time and looking at them. And I think that although not everyone who collects, and probably not the majority of people who collect or are big into these things necessarily have these issues, I think a significant number of people who collect like I do, and put a lot of money into these types of things are at risk for some of the issues we're going to talk about in this video. So um, the idea of being like addicted to collectibles or collecting, we become addicted to things for really two main reasons. One, the thing that we become addicted to usually gives us a really strong dopamine rush, a really strong high from whatever it is we're addicted to. So whether that's drugs and alcohol, or gambling, or uh, buying things. There's this huge high that a collector that I've experienced, right, when I finally something comes up on eBay that I've been waiting for many months, and I spend a lot of money on it, and I have this like really rare, amazing piece that other people don't have, and I get this really great high and great feeling from that. And the purpose of this video is not to say that like there's anything necessarily wrong inherently in that. The purpose is to talk about like the dangers of what can follow from that. So I think the getting the highs from collecting um, can be really enjoyable. And what happens though is that once you get the high off of a really expensive item, or a really rare thing, or a tricky thing, oftentimes rather than feeling a sense of like long lasting um, uh, happiness or satisfaction might be the best word, long lasting satisfaction with that type of item, there can be sort of a quick, almost forgetting of that item. Uh, in some more extreme cases, not even really ever looking at that item again or enjoying that item, and where the high really comes only from the buying and from the hunting and finding that next big thing. And I certainly have experienced this. There have been times where I've bought cards that I haven't opened for months, that I got a nice, really high from buying or acquiring, and then I didn't even open it or really look at it or enjoy it. And so those types of things are warning signs for me that I'm starting to not enjoy the I'm starting to not really enjoy all aspects of collecting in the hobby, part of which is like actually looking at your cards, appreciating them, displaying them so that you can actually engage them and continue to appreciate them. And I'm getting caught in what can be a pretty vicious cycle of just needing to chase and find that next big thing. And the reason that's dangerous is because it can cause a lot of financial problems. And unfortunately, I've talked to a number of people this year who really spent a lot of money and got themselves in very tough financial credit situations. I myself, in the last 2 to 3 months, have really been overspending beyond what I wish that I had, and putting myself in a little bit of like a anxious sort of financial position where I have to sort of sell something I may not really want to sell in order to afford the other things I really want to buy, or I have to kind of um, pick up more hours, work a little bit more to be able to afford the things that I want to buy right now, or the things that I've sort of already bought in the last few months in other card collecting hobbies. And that causes a lot of stress and anxiety, and not really enjoying things. And right, at worst case scenario, it can cause like really very devastating financial implications, and owing a lot of money, and sleepless nights, and all sorts of things that can really take away from the enjoyment of the cards and of the hobby. And so I do want to share that I really struggle with that. And I personally, I get very addicted to the high of of finding that new card. And for me, the way that I try and cope with that and deal with that is just keep that awareness of when I'm, as I said, when I'm getting cards and I'm just leaving them in boxes, or I'm not spending a lot of time with them, or I'm spending outside of a budget that I had decided on, or that feeling of like, well, but I'm just going to spend outside this one time because there's this really amazing deal that may never come up again, etc., etc., etc. Particularly if you are not actually selling the items, which in a lot of cases, these types of cases, I don't actually sell. I want to hold the items and collect the items. And although I think that they aren't actually investable, the idea that these items are investable can also be a rationality to just really be addicted to them and just continue to try and like get that high and chase that high. So you just have to be really careful about all of that. The last thing I want to talk about, and just being personal, I guess, and a little bit vulnerable and sharing. I when I'm struggling in my life with my mental health, or in relationships, or feeling unsatisfied in a broader sense at my job, or unsatisfied with myself, or getting down on myself, I tend to use buying, shopping, and trying to find cards as an escape, as a way to cope with some of those negative feelings. And that is not going to bring you happiness and satisfaction in those areas. And it if you're looking for that type of happiness in owning items, it's it can lead to a lot of issues, and it can lead to you, one, not addressing the actual problems that are going on in your life. And I really, I'm a therapist, and I really recommend people who, and it's extremely normal to be struggling in certain areas, or to, be struggling with mental health problems and feelings about yourself, issues with your parents, attachment, trauma struggles, like super normal things that a lot of, us humans experience and go through, that you seek help rather than trying to find that, um, help. You seek a therapist, and you seek that professional help so that you can really work to figure out like what are the core issues, and how do we address these types of things so that you feel happy, and you feel stable, and you feel, good about yourself, and you're not feeling anxious and depressed and full of despair, these types of things. And that you not look to cards, or collecting, or any sort of, a potential addiction to fill that hole. And that's one of the dangerous things with addiction, that it's not just the seeking of the high, but it's the avoidance of the pain, or the suffering, or the significant problems and hurt that a lot of us feel. And so I know that that's very true for me, and I'm sure it's true for a number of people, which is part of why I wanted to make this video. And yeah, and I think, I guess, to say something that I think is very, very true and positive at the end here, it's a great hobby, and you meet a lot of people, and you have fun, and you it's fun to chase things and build things, and complete collections. And so it's not about not doing any of it. I think it's about finding a balance, and also making sure your mental health and other things are good in your life when you're doing an activity like this, particularly when you're spending a lot of money, and that you feel like you're really in control of it, and then it's not controlling you. And one of the things I want to leave you guys with is this idea that, a really good sign that something is an addiction is if you are both seeking the whether it's alcohol, or gambling, or buying, and pack opening, right, which is it can be a gambling thing in Pokemon. If it becomes both the source of one of your biggest problems, and also the thing that you are using to feel better, that is a great example of where it's probably become a problem. And what I mean by that is that if you take an honest look, and you're like, well, having all this stuff in my house that I don't really like, and it's causing issues with a relationship, my girlfriend doesn't like it, or something like that, plus I'm spending money that I really don't have, and I'm not actually really reselling any of it, or I'm not really trying to start a business with it, and it's causing me financial strain and anxiety, and maybe I'm working more than I want to because of it, or any of those types of feelings, and then that anxiety, which is being um, uh, made greater by the card collecting, then makes you want to card collect more, and where you go back, you tend to buy even more expensive things, and you look at them even less, and you're on to the next thing even quicker. And so I think those are the things to watch out for. Again, it's a wonderful hobby filled with a lot of people who really care about each other and have similar interests. And I think we just really should do our part to look out for each other and be kind to each other and make this like an enjoyable, safe, healthy place for as many people as possible to spend their money in, and time in, as entertainment, or as potential investments. Something that is both enjoyable and fun to own, but also something that can be a reasonable store of value over time and have that sort of secondary benefit. So I thought it was an important video to make. Thank you so much for watching, and appreciate always all the kind words and support on this channel. I certainly say things and do things that I wish I hadn't, and I'm not always the best in all my videos, and I don't always make the best points, and sometimes I'm not the most concise, and I'm can interrupt people and talk too much, but I'm really trying my best to make videos that uh, say useful, helpful things to people. And I will continue to try and do that. And I just thank you guys all so much for the kind words, and for the support, and the generosity, over the last like year or so, as I've been making this, and it's been great meeting so many of you, and hope to meet more of you guys in the future. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and have another video for you guys probably later on in the week. All right. Take care.